Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can't believe I can't do it. All right, I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Monday. So this is all the stuff. This is actually like a pretty, I would say like a lame quantity amount of items. It's still okay, but yeah, this isn't pretty good. I don't know. I heard that there was like some like eBay bug with pricing or something. They talked about it on their website. I don't even know if they emailed people. All right, but I'm going to move past that. All right, so the first thing that's sold right here is Recovery, the board game. This one I think is actually just a custom, or sorry, self-published board game right here. I think it's going to, technically it's like a party game. So it looks kind of like a Cards Against Humanity, apples to apples game when you actually dig into the pieces inside. Let me see if I can actually go through this real quick. So yeah, there's like a board that you go through. It's going to be like a really old school board game where you roll a dice, move spaces, but I think it's going to be based off of prompts and stuff that you answer, which are going to be these cards right here. Right there. So yeah, it's really cool. Anytime I see like a board game I don't recognize, I do grab it just because, yeah, no one else has them. And I think no one else had it. So this one sold for $25. So it's pretty cool to sell something like that. All right, next up is something I think Netta grabbed at an estate sale, Locomotive Legends clock right here. Actually, this might have been from a thrift store, maybe like a Goodwill or like a Savers or maybe just like a mom and pop thrift store right there. So yeah, this is just a cool Locomotive clock. It's analog, so yeah, it's going to move. People call that old time. All right, moving along, we have a pack of 3 Axis and Allies miniature figures right here. I believe these are they're going to be so tiny and you could barely even see them even if you play the game. And then they're going to each have cards set for them right there. This is a miniature game where you buy a booster pack. Usually, I think that I know they have tanks. I don't know if they have airplanes or boats and stuff, but yeah, each of these figures is going to be points. You're going to set a certain number of points and then face off against each other. So yeah, this is pretty cool. The boost, I think obviously the infantry, these little guys are going to be the least expensive. The tanks and the ships and stuff are going to be more price worthy. These sold for $8.79. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but yeah, everything is going to be plus shipping. The train thing was $22. The Recovery board game was $25. All right, next up is combo order. So this is going to be a bunch of dice for, I believe, I actually don't remember what type of game this is. These are going to be like card game dice right here. So these ones right here that you're seeing right now, these are cool because they're wooden. Yeah, they're going to have different suits and things like a King of Hearts, Queen of Clubs, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I forget which old school card game these are for. And then these are kind of classic. I don't know if it's blackjack. I can't remember, so I'm just going to move on. But yeah, these are also old school. You can tell by the coloring. These D6 are also, they were matching with these. So it's cool. They bought all of these for right above $20 for those. One was $7.99 and the other one was $12.80. All right, next up is a Magic the Gathering board game expansion, Arena of the Planeswalkers, Battle for Zendikar right here. So yeah, this is just going to be an expansion. It's going to have a bunch of figures in it, which is pretty cool. Some are painted, some are not. These two are like main characters, Planeswalkers. In general, this board game doesn't really sell for a lot. It kind of had a weird release where I think it released on sale or something at Targets, or there was some like kind of drama behind the scenes where like it was supposed to be like a $40 or $60 game, but like when it came out, people were selling it for like literally like $10, $12. I forget the back end. I think someone corporate wise or something, someone distributor messed up somewhere along the line. Therefore, when a board game starts at a really low price, people aren't going to assume it's a bad board game. I'm sure this board game is fine. This is an expansion for it. I do think they have a couple of expansions, but yeah, once the idea out there was, oh, this is an IP board game, it was not selling for a lot in release. It's a junk game. It's a flash in the pan type of thing. And I just think it had a bad release. This one ended up selling, the one that I sold was for $10. This one is complete. All right, next up is an empty box for Magic the Gathering. This is the Deck Builder's Toolkit right here for 2010. Yeah, I could just tell by the look of it. I actually bought some of these when I was playing Magic way back then. So yeah, it's going to have some Planeswalkers like Sorin, Jace, Chandra, Gideon right there. Yeah, empty box. This holds a bunch of cards. People do collect these as well. So yeah, that sold for $8.44. So yeah, not a lot, but it's still empty. That's stuff people usually throw away. All right, moving along, we have a card game or like a party game. This is Werewolf right here. I don't think anyone has the rights to be able to be the only ones that can sell Werewolf the card game. So there's a bunch of different companies. I know there's like Bezier Games or something that does a lot of the boxed ones and stuff like that. So yeah, this is just a travel one. They're all going to have like little rules that are a little different. You get a bunch of people around the table. Everyone gets like a role. You're trying to eliminate the werewolves. The werewolves are trying to take over the village by eating all the villagers. So this one sold for $14. All right, next up is a thing for Car Wars. I believe this is a Steve Jackson game. I don't actually know too much about it. This is like Deluxe Wheels expansion set number 10. Excuse me. But yeah, right there, I don't know if it's like a punch out or something like that. But yeah, there's a bunch of little expansions and cutouts or something behind here. I can't really show because I already wrapped it up to ship out. This sold for $25. So yeah, Steve Jackson is known for doing like Munchkin, but they also sell other stuff like that. And they've done a lot of stuff, also RPG books, regular books. All right, moving along, we have our first manga sale from the purchase of the video that I posted with all like the Lord of the Rings books and other stuff like that. Yotsuba. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This is going to be book number 1 right there, or manga number 1. This one was not sealed. I actually got a bunch of sealed ones from the person. Yeah, this one was not sealed. This sold for $13.99, so that's pretty cool. We already sold the Hitbox. We sold an Nendoroid. I think it was like the cat one. I forget her name. And then now this. And then there's also one more item in this sale over the weekend. All right, moving along. We haven't been able to sell these in a while. Florida Traveling Brochure. This one is from, I actually don't know the year. It just says, Route 27. So yeah, this is a cool brochure. People do like stuff like this. They collect it. They like looking at it. They might have memories of using this particular map. Yeah, I've listed, I think, almost all of our maps and brochures at this point. They do take time. They are a little boring for me, but they do sell. This sold for $13.60. I actually listed this during one of our first few videos in the channel where I did 500 items over 5 days, and I did list 500 items over 5 days. I listed a bunch of brochures. I just remember what box I put it in. So it was a cool flashback for me from a couple months ago. So it didn't take too long to sell for like a brochure like that. All right, next up, Halloween and the Fall is Upon Us. This is a very, very old pickup. I know I've been looking at this listing for literally years. I want to say this is one of our first 400, 500 listings ever on our eBay together, Annette and I. Yeah, it's a witch. It's a little candle holder right there. Holds a little candle. This one ended up selling for $12. It might have been Annetta's listing too. I'm not even sure. We didn't even have a photo box when we did this. We had like a whiteboard on a table. So like those whiteboards you get at the Dollar Tree, put it behind it. So it just has a nice white backdrop, and then it was just on like a white plastic table. All right, moving along, we have a Goosebumps book. This is The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight right here. This is not first edition, but this one still sold for $9.99. It's in really good condition. I forgot where I picked this one up. There's a little like scratch or whatever right there, but it's still relatively good. Like you can open it up and read it, and it looks pretty cool on the edge. Looks pretty cool, like the binding. Yeah, so $10 for that one's cool. Also like fall themed. All right, next up, this thing I don't know too much about, and I don't know where I got it, which is kind of rare for me not knowing where I got it. Student Solutions Supplement Physics right here. Yeah, it's just a little like physics book by, it says Macmillan Publishing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about it, or else I would talk more about it. I don't even know where I got it. Probably in like a bulk lot of books and stuff. All right, next up is going to be like a military book. This is Fighting Instructions 1530 to 1816 right there. It's not a hardcover, but it's like a trade paperback, so it is like a pretty good like binding overall on it. So yeah, there you go. It's like a white front and back with like orange lettering on the front. That one sold to a repeat buyer for $17, so it's really cool to give repeat buyers. They probably know that we sell like military stuff and books like that. All right, next up is also an interesting sale for me, at least. This is a lot of 147 just blue, common and uncommon Magic the Gathering cards. At some point, we did an auction for $660 from an auction place. In there, I got what I thought was a bad purchase. I bought a bunch of Magic for $40. I wanted to like just gamble on and see what happens. Immediately when I got it, I like almost regretted it because I used to be really big into Magic. I don't know anything about Magic in the past like 4 or 5 years, so I'm kind of like a time capsule from before 2020 and before that, you know. So yeah, it's interesting. So I have no idea how it is now. So maybe something in here spiked in price. So I laid them all out. You could see the names of all the cards, getting $20 for this is good because that's half of that $40 back. Well, there's still like fees and stuff, so that still sucks. But I do think I've sold other random lots of them. I just lotted them up by the stuff that made sense. So yeah, I was just like all the blue commons and uncommons, $20 for that is awesome. All right, next up is a military deck of poker cards, World War II Most Wanted art. I think this is from 2022. So yeah, I don't know if this is satirical or if this is legit. I'm going to think it's legit. So yeah, soldiers are going to have I've never been in the military. I don't know anything about it, but I'm assuming that a bunch of soldiers and stuff will have like, they play poker and stuff. So they'll be giving these decks to like keep track of people. I have no idea. No, not at all. I don't know. It says it's actually from the Monuments Men Foundation of the Preservation of Art. I don't know. All right, there you go. But yeah, this one sold for $15. All right, next up, we have a card from Netrunner. I love Netrunner a lot. I think it's the best card game ever. I can go on and on about it. This is an Apex Invasive Predator alt art promo card. You can also see the back as well. Yeah, this is going to be an alt art card, I believe, for a runner. Runners are trying to like hack into the corporations, and the corporations are trying to protect their little agendas, I think they're called. So yeah, you have a runner. You also have a corp. You play one game, my runner against your corp, then you play your runner against my corp, and then there's like a point system. It's really cool asymmetric game, meaning both sides actually have different rule sets when they're playing. It's not like the same. All right, next up is also an interesting one, also a fall theme. This is Force of Will. This is going to be Small Assistant Marabella card right there. Sorry to look down there. I think it's foil. It's a foil card. So yeah, Force of Will right here. This is the back of Force of Will cards. But yeah, this card game, I don't even know where it's at right now, but I know at some point they were kind of like, it had anime, this kind of style arts, and then it kind of mostly played like Magic the Gathering, but then they buffed up the numbers, adding extra zeros. So this is going to do like 500 damage instead of 5. So they added like a couple of zeros. I don't know where it's at now, but they had a lot of promo cards. They had booster packs, they had sets, they had starter decks. So it was a full-fledged card game. It's basically, I don't know actually if it's a dead card game, so I don't want to say that right now. I just don't know where it's at. All right, moving along, we have Iron Star Alliance Warcaster Neo Mekonaka tokens or something. I'm probably saying that wrong right there. But yeah, this is, normally I put like what the lot number is, so I guess bad listing on my part. I'm kind of sad. I mean, it's still sold, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, these are going to be acrylic. There's cardboard pieces. I forget what particular game this is for. It's either from a board game or a miniature game. I probably knew when I looked it up, or like I looked it up and then I just listed it as such. This sold for $20.80. It's always cool to sell tokens like that. All right, next up, we have a new open box Heliborn Collections, like helicopter little kit. I obviously already have it sealed in this packet, so I can't show you. But yeah, these are like, it looks like blind little boxes. The person probably didn't get the helicopter that they wanted, so then they just, yeah, they got rid of it and they sold it. All right, this one sold for $30, which is pretty cool because they're, I think, Japanese. All right, next up is another thing we got from the auction right here. This is a vintage Tin Ohio clock, like picture toy. Yeah, this thing's going to be pretty old. It's actually made of tin, has a lot of wear and stuff like that. This was actually in a lot of a bunch of like Army Men and figures, so this just must have been like a throw-in in that particular lot, and I still got $10. This is for a repeat buyer, so they're keeping out on little oddities like that. So yeah, another thing towards that $660 auction. I've been recording what we've been selling from it. All right, moving along. The last thing, which is also from the anime Nendoroids and all the other stuff we got from the person we had the video down below. This is going to be a kanji book. This is just teaching someone how to write and read Japanese kanji, which is just like some of their little symbols and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know if these would sell or not. They were just, it was like a bulk purchase for everything. It was in the box with the manga, like the one you saw earlier. This ended up selling for $10, which in my head, I was like, if I get $10 for every one of these learning books or more, it would be really good for me. And it was. There was also a couple items I forgot to grab. They're actually in my like listing room because I had listed them recently, but I'm not going to grab them right now, but I'll mention them in the next video. Or I can just talk about them quickly right now. It was a set of 35 Axis and Allies at Sea acrylic tokens. I think it's different than the Axis and Allies miniature games for the miniatures that I sold. I believe this is like a different board game type of thing. These end up selling for $15 for a lot of 35. They're really nice acrylic tokens to denote things like damage and stuff like that, or different status effects. And the other thing was a baggie of Wonderland's War board game base rings for the figures. So Wonderland's War was a Alice in Wonderland like board game mock-up type of thing. I know it exists. I can picture the cover in my mind's eye, but I've never played it. I don't have it. I don't know if it's my type of game. Anytime I looked it up, I'm like, well, I don't really care that much about Alice in Wonderland. But this was a bag of little rings of different colors that you put on under the miniatures, maybe to show which player is controlling which characters, because they have like a red, a pink, a blue, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's everything today for the weekend. So yeah, not the best weekend sales wise. It's still okay. I have a lot of like random magazines and stuff I'm going to be listing. Let me know how your weekend is below down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. It's the start of the week. Have a good one.